Ford has confirmed their intention to return to Formula 1 when new engine regulations are introduced in 2026, adding another chapter to the American organization's rich history in the sport. How did that happen? When are they joining? Every question will be answered. Keep watching the video. Ford's involvement in Formula 1 date back to the 1960s, and the DFV double 4-valve engine, which was developed in collaboration with British engineering firm Cosworth and won 155 races out of 262 between 1967 and 1985. From Graham Hill and Lotus in 1968 to Michael Schumacher and Benetton in 1994, Ford has been involved in 10 constructors and 13 drivers' championships, making the third most successful engine manufacturer in F1 history. Ford will return to the grid in 2026, 20 years after their last appearance in 2004, due to the appeal of F1's future engine regulations, which include increased electrical power and 100% sustainable fuels. The news today that Ford is coming to Formula 1 from 2026 is great for the sport, and we are excited to see them join the incredible automotive partners already in Formula 1, said Stefano Domenicali, president and CEO of F1. Ford is a global brand with an incredible heritage in racing and the automotive world, and they see the huge value that our platform provides with over 500 million fans around the world. Our commitment to be net zero carbon by 2030 and to introduce sustainable fuels in F1 cars starting in 2026 is also a major factor in their decision to enter F1. We believe that our sport offers unparalleled opportunity and reach, and we cannot wait for the Ford logo to race around F1's iconic circuits beginning in 2026. Ford is bringing Ford's long tradition of innovation, sustainability, and electrification to one of the world's most visible stages. There are few manufacturers with such a celebrated motorsport history as Ford, so to see them returning to the FIA Formula 1 World Championship is excellent news, FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem added. It underpins the success of the 2026 power unit regulations, which have at their core a commitment to both sustainability and spectacle, and having more interest from the United States is obviously important for the continued growth of the world's top motorsports category. Ford's announcement comes after Audi announced plans to enter F1 in 2026, with the German manufacturer acquiring a minority stake in the Sauber operation that will become their works team this week. Ford has confirmed their upcoming return to Formula 1 through a long-term strategic technical partnership with Red Bull Powertrains ahead of the sport's new engine regulations taking effect. Ford announced plans earlier this week to add a new chapter to their trophy-laden F1 story, having powered 10 Constructors' Championships and 13 Driver Championships over the years, from Lotus and Graham Hill in 1968 to Benetton and Michael Schumacher in 1994. Beginning in 2023, Ford and Red Bull Powertrains, the Milton Keynes team's dedicated engine division, will work together to develop a next-generation power unit that will supply both Red Bull Racing and the sister AlphaTauri operation from 2026 until at least 2030. F1's future engine regulations, based on the current turbocharged 1.6-litre power unit, will feature increased electrical power and 100% sustainable fuels while improving safety and lowering costs for manufacturers. A giant of both the motorsport world and the automotive industry, Ford is set to provide expertise in several areas of development, include battery cell and electric motor technology, as well as power unit control software and analytics. This marks the beginning of an exciting new chapter in Ford's motorsport story, which began when my great-grandfather, Henry Ford, won a race that helped launch our company, said Bill Ford, executive chairman of Ford Motor Company. Ford is returning to the pinnacle of the sport with world champions Oracle Red Bull Racing, bringing Ford's long tradition of innovation, sustainability, and electrification to one of the world's most visible stages. Ford's return to Formula 1 with Red Bull Racing is all about where we are going as a company, increasing electric, software-defined modern vehicles and experiences, said Jim Farley, president and CEO of Ford Motor Company. F1 will be a remarkably low-cost platform for innovating, sharing ideas and technologies, and engaging with tens of millions of new customers. It's fantastic to be welcoming Ford back into Formula 1 through this partnership, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner added. The ability to benefit from an OEM's experience, such as Ford's, puts us ahead of the competition as an independent engine manufacturer. They are a manufacturer with a long history in the automotive industry. The lineage runs from Jim Clark to Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher. It is tremendously exciting for us as Red Bull Powertrains to begin the next chapter of that dynasty as Red Bull Ford. While 2026 is still a long way away, work has already begun as we look to a new future and the continued evolution of Oracle Red Bull Racing. Farley stressed that Ford would be competing to win in F1, with new partner Red Bull looking to build on winning both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships last year. F1's popularity has skyrocketed since billionaire John Malone's Liberty Media Corp purchased the franchise in 2017 for $4.4 billion. With a direct-to-consumer streaming service and the popular Netflix series Drive to Survive, the once stodgy and European-centric sports have cultivated a new generation of fans. According to ESPN, the 2022 season averaged 1.21 million viewers per race, a 28% increase from the previous year's record. Bloomberg reported last month that Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund considered adding Formula One to its growing portfolio of sports investments at a valuation of more than $20 billion, though the potential deal fell through in the early stages because Liberty Media was unwilling to sell. On Friday, Red Bull and Ford announced that they will collaborate on developing next-generation hybrid power units, which will be used by both the Oracle Red Bull Racing and Scuderia AlphaTauri teams from 2026 to at least 2030. The automaker will contribute expertise in battery cells, electric motors, power unit control software, and analytics. General Motors CEO, Ford's crosstown rival, is also attempting to enter F1 by partnering with Michael Andretti, the son of legendary driver Mario Andretti. On Wednesday, the sports governing body opened an application process for prospective teams, weeks after FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem said he welcomed the news of Andretti's partnership with GM's Cadillac and looked forward to further discussion. Jordan returned to being a Ford customer in 2003 after its Honda engine deal expired early due to Honda focusing entirely on the bar team that was about to become its works outfit. It had some leeway for its development, but Ford's priority was its own Jaguar team, which was then in the best form of its short and tumultuous history thanks to new signing Mark Webber. Jordan, on the other hand, won a race for Ford. Gary Anderson was Jordan's technical director when the team achieved that incredible result in the bizarre 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix. He tells the story of what's happened. Jordan had a difficult Formula One season in 2003. I joined the team the previous season as head of race and testing engineering, so I wasn't in charge of the car's design. We had a difficult start to the season with a car that didn't respond well to developments or setup changes in Australia and Malaysia, and given the limited resources we had to work with, it's no surprise that things got off to a rocky start. It was simply a case of doing what we could on the track, and we expected a similar story at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix. But there's always the possibility of favourable weather in Brazil, so it's one of those races where you never know what will happen. We knew there was a good chance of rain on Sunday, so we went with a relatively low fuel level, hoping to make it to lap 10 or 11. This was the first year you qualified with your race start fuel load in the car, and there's no secret, a lighter car goes faster. With our lead driver Giancarlo Fisichella, we finished 8th on the grid. We were the best Bridgestone runners on the grid outside of Ferrari, as some of the others seemed to struggle with the tyres. We collaborated closely with Bridgestone, but Ferrari was the priority in the end, and we received whatever was left over. Rob Smedley, Fizzy's engineer, knew how to get the most out of them, but the fuel load primarily determined the qualifying position. He said, "Leave it with me," and 10 minutes later, Charlie Whiting called to say that he had asked the timing people to remove the lap on which the red flag had been thrown, not realizing it had been done automatically. He said it would have to go to a tribunal, but that on this basis we would win. In retrospect, it was a lucky win, but as the saying goes, you don't win the lottery unless you buy a ticket. We purchased a ticket that day, which was a true team effort. The mechanics did everything correctly, the strategy was sound, and Fizzies drove like a true pro, and everyone else aided us by making mistakes. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content.